7 summers ago, a 38-year-old comic who played Ukraine's president in the famous soap opera had no idea that he would one day lead his country in one of the century's deadliest wars. Today, Ukraine's 44-year-old president Volodymyr Zelensky is not only leading his country in a lone battle against Russia, but he has also sworn not to abandon his people, despite the fact that the enemy regards him as the number one target and his family as the number two target. Zelensky was born in the southern Ukrainian industrial hub of Kryvyi Rih to Jewish parents. When Zelensky was a child, his family moved to Erdenet, Mongolia, for 4 years before returning to Kryvyi Rih, where he began school. He grew raised as a native Russian speaker, like many people in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region, but he also became fluent in Ukrainian and English. He enrolled in Kryvyi Rih Economic Institute, the local branch of Kyiv National Economic University, in 1995, and graduated with a law degree in 2000. Despite the fact that Zelensky was a practicing lawyer, his career was already taking a different path. He had become involved in theater while still a student, and this would become his primary focus. In 1997, his performance group Kvartal 95 competed in the televised final of KVN, a popular improv comedy competition broadcast throughout the Commonwealth of Independent States. Zelensky and Kvartal 95 became regulars on KVN, where they appeared until 2003. That same year, Zelensky co-founded Studio Kvartal 95, which would go on to become one of Ukraine's most successful and prolific entertainment studios. Zelensky was the artistic director of Studio Kvartal 95 from its creations until 2011, when he was named general producer of Ukrainian television's channel InterTV. His famous show Servant of the People served as a launching pad for his political career and elections as president in 2015. Zelensky played Vasil Petrovich Holoborodko, a high school history teacher whose speech against corruptions in Ukraine's government goes viral and eventually propels him to the presidency. The show's enormous popularity inspired Kvartal 95 to create a political party with the same name 3 years later. In 2018, Zelensky declared his candidacy for the presidential elections on behalf of his party, relying primarily on his stand-up comedian acts against opponents at campaign rallies. He would tour with his squad Kvartal 95, and he would connect with the electorate most through social media, especially YouTube. During the campaign, he was accused of purposefully avoiding journalists and avoiding serious interviews. One of his primary promises was to bring the war with Russia to a stop and to placate pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine. On April 21, 2019, he defeated then-President Petro Poroshenko in a landslide victory, receiving 73% of the vote. On May 20, 2019, he was sworn in as a president of the Ukraine. In his first year in office, Zelensky attempted to make amends with Russia by establishing a dialogue with Putin, but he was unsuccessful. He adopted a more severe stance towards Russia in 2020-2021, a departure from his previous stance. As tensions with the neighboring country rose and Russia began to build up forces along Ukraine's border, refusing to accept Putin's assertions that he was inciting war, Zelensky stated in a speech on February 23rd that he did not desire a cold war, a hot war, or even a hybrid war. He had encouraged Russians to see the truth and put an end to the war before it's too late. With Ukraine having lost 137 military and civilian personnel since Thursday, Zelensky lashed out on Friday at Western politicians for being silent on his country's NATO's membership. While the US and NATO have supplied military assistance to Ukraine, they have remained mute on sending troops to combat Russian forces because Ukraine is not a NATO member, and the Western country do not want to trigger a larger war by joining forces with Ukraine. Despite Russian forces closing in on the Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, Zelensky has decided to remain in Ukraine with his family. Zelensky became the face of Ukrainian resistance, and his background in entertainment and media provided Ukraine with a weapon that Putin couldn't match. Zelensky was unquestionably the victor in the information war, after Russian propaganda outlets sought to spread the false allegations that Zelensky had fled the capital. He took to the streets and shot a video of himself standing boldly in central Kyiv. When the US offered to evacuate Zelensky from the war zone, he reportedly replied, "The fight is here. I don't need a ride, I need ammunition." That's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then do like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content. See you in the next one.